Welcome back to another episode of Life with Lamb. Today I'm here with AK, or...
A kid?
Yes. What a sick name.
Oh man, I get like a lot of people saying, "Is that your actual name?" Like,
It's a made-up name.
yeah, what's your parents' name like that? And I'm like, I don't know. You tell them. Like,
Jeez, I feel like that's so mean though. Like,
Yeah.
and in terms of like nationality and stuff, some people have different names and different pronunciations, and
yeah.
I feel like a lot of westernized people are like, "Oh, that's a weird name." And
Oh
stuff.
man, like when I was like growing up in school, like this was probably like year 8. I actually got bullied for my name,
That's so mean.
and I was like, cause one of my cousins, he was in the same level as that guy, and then I just kind of felt scared, and I was like, like I was really timid. I was like, I don't know what to do, like like.
Yeah, what I guess like what's the worst experience it's been? Was it the bullying stage? And
I think it was it was only like that one time, but I'm like, oh, I haven't actually been bullied before. Is this how?
Unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
Like, I think your name's sick. A kid.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
A kid. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Where are you from? Like, what's your background? What's your heritage?
So basically, my parents are from Singapore. We grew up in like a poor village, where they came from. Like I don't know how, in like all the Asian mums, dads, they're from like a poor village or whatever. But yeah. So dad's like his ethnicity is Yemen. So I'm like Arabian, and then my mom's Chinese Paki.
Oh my gosh.
But we speak Malay, but they were born in Singapore. So I just say to myself, when people meet me, they're like, oh, what are you? Singaporean, Malay? Like,
I mean,
I do.
it's sad that it has to be simplified but like that, but
Yeah.
I mean, whatever floats your boat and
Yeah,
whatever gets you
basically.
through. Which is I think it's so upsetting. But anyway, new episode. Thank you for listening if you are. And thank you for coming down. I really do appreciate
all
it.
good, man. All good.
Tell the listeners a bit about yourself. We already have dived into it. Really cool name. Really cool background.
So, about myself, I used to play soccer. I just started doing powerlifting. So, back in on that Matt Crundle crew.
Crundle crew.
Yeah.
Love to
so-
see it. How crazy we met through powerlifting. I was talking to... I got Alan Zhao on the podcast,
Yeah.
which will be released. I don't know.
Yeah.
You'll all be listening to it. But yeah, we just met through like coaching, followed each other on Instagram, and
Yeah, I was
Here we
like,
are.
yeah, so I was like, oh, who are these Crundle crew guys? Yeah, I'll just follow you guys, and yeah, we're kind of like Instagram fam, basically. So yeah,
that's it. Yeah, so soccer, and then moved
Uh,
into powerlifting.
yeah, and then yeah, basically through soccer, I was just like, so I started when I was 10, and then this was in Chelsea. It was like a Croatian club where I started my soccer journey. And then I started going to this Australian football school where I just kind of like developed my skills. And then I got into this Super League, and then when I got older, when I was younger, I got into the older ages. So when I was like 16, I was playing with the 18-year-olds. And then...
Bit of a jet.
Yeah, a bit of a jet, to be honest, and a bit of experience. And I think like once you're at a young age, I think if you really want to develop yourself, you have to really play with the big boys or, or big girls,
Yeah, that's how it works at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Like you sort of have to get in early.
Yeah.
Yeah, soccer. Why soccer?
I kind of just like followed my brother, to be honest. I was like, oh man, it's so fun. He's playing, why am I playing? Or like, oh, why isn't my dad putting me into a soccer clinic when I'm like 8 years old or whatever? But maybe I'm just too young or whatever. But yeah, soccer experience, like it was really good. When I was young, got scouted to West Ham when I was like 13.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well
but
done.
yeah, but I didn't really pursue it that much because my dad's like, oh, you're still young, you're gonna be lonely, and I'm like, well, Cristiano Ronaldo, when he was that young, he got, I don't know, went to another country by himself when he was young. But then I feel like parents these times they don't understand like career success and all that stuff. But yeah, so what else? Oh, like when I was like 14. I represented like the national team for Singapore. So my mom had like still had like the citizenship in Singapore. So they're like, oh no, you can still come and represent us. So I only went there for like a year. So, and in like Singapore, it's so humid. It's always raining, and I'm like, yeah, nah, this isn't for me and stuff like that. But like the experience there was so good, like go to the camps, you have to eat properly, you have to train 2 times a day, you have to, what do we do? So we played against like Japan, like Burma, we played Australia, Thailand was like they're small little buggers, man, but they are so aggressive. Like I don't explain it. Like they're super strong, but they're like 4'2". You know what I mean? Like
It's all the pad thai. I reckon.
yeah, all the fans are.
Yeah, so I guess let's break down your soccer career. Like, started off as a little kid, 10 years old. Is that right? Or
Yeah,
even,
I'd
or
start
even earlier?
probably started at 10. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And you followed your brother, and then I guess talk to us about these experiences. Like, I feel like they don't come very often in Australia, especially.
So I started at 10, and then from 10 to 12 went to like an Australian football school, and then 12 to like 14, or actually 12 to like 15, I went to Super League. They're called Monash City. So it was actually one of like the better developing teams that, you know, trained all these like young kids to become really good. So I was pretty like fortunate for that. How can I explain it? And then when I was at like around 15 to like 18, I was in like Heidelberg. And then I traveled all the way to the Western Suburbs and played with like this team called Western Suburbs Soccer Club, which is like in Sunshine, like George Cross. What else? And then I feel like at the end, I just kind of, I don't know, my motivation for soccer went down. So then I dropped down a league or two down, played for like Southern Stars. I think they're called Dingley Stars now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I guess with motivation, describe it as a kid. Like, did you see this as a future or a career?
Yeah,
for you?
100%. I just felt like something was I was going in the right direction.
Yeah,
so
I can imagine if you're being scouted.
Yeah, so like I feel like when you're 18, you need to hit that peak mark and get noticed. But I think in Australia, it's really hard to get recognized, especially if you're like an Asian descending. You know, you never see like AK, the Asian guy on the wing. You know, like when he's from Singapore, mate. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
I've heard a lot about soccer, and correct me if I'm wrong, listeners. I feel like it's very money oriented and like just about who you know and
basically.
yeah.
I'll tell you this one story. So I went to join this club called South Melbourne. So it's a Greek affiliated club. This was probably when I was like 14, 15, wanted to get into this club. So trained with these guys for like 5 months, wanting to get a trial. This was, I was young, yeah. And because they're a rich club, there was this Greek boy. I would say he's not even average, whatever. Like, like when you think about someone, you're like, oh, he's actually not that good. I'm a bit better, whatever. But yeah. So the thing was his dad paid money to the coach, and I was like, and I didn't get into the spot because of maybe not being Greek or not,
bribery.
You know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of politics and there's a lot of like, yeah, it's money driven in that
Yeah,
way.
would you say when you were playing soccer and sort of moving up the leagues, could you start to see that more clearly, or would you say
I kind of knew that from an early start, maybe when that South Melbourne thing happened, and especially like, let's say if you go into a Greek club or Turkish club, they're only gonna be affiliated with their own, let's say, ethnicity, if that makes sense. So you're kind of like at the back chilling and you're just watching, basically.
How did that make you feel?
I'd say to be honest, I wasn't really too like sad or anything. It was more like it is what it is, so I just kind of went with the flow. Yeah,
fair enough.
To be honest, and just basically like, all right, if they all I need to do is I need to work hard and I need to show the spectators that I'm the most working hardest, like most hardworking.
Most hardworking.
Most hardworking. Most hardworking. I was like,
it's alright.
Most hardworking person. So it shows that I'm like the better player on the ground, and I don't need to show anyone that like even the players like that I'm like cocky or anything like that. So if you put in the work, results will come. So,
yeah. Fair enough. And I guess during your time playing soccer, what's the biggest takeaway that you've sort of learned, and how has that helped you to be the person that you are today?
I guess like playing soccer, it made me develop like good behavioral skills. So let's say like going to a coach, make sure you shake their hand for respect, or you even like just show yourself to training that you're dedicated, and that like soccer makes you feel like, all right, if I'm hardworking, I'm gonna bring this like attitude to my job, if that makes sense. That way, like, all right, this manager knows that I'm hardworking or whatever, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What's your relationship like, I guess, with your parents? Like, if you were to describe it, what's it like?
I'll say strict, as a, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So strict. So, yeah, I wasn't really like, my parents were always like, come back home, something might happen and stuff like that. My dad was pretty like, you must be a soccer player, like you must do good, or, yeah, I think that's about it, to be honest. I wouldn't say like, I think the way I am, strict parents make cheeky kids. So
yeah, fair enough.
yeah, so.
And yeah, how would you describe yourself as a kid growing up? Like through school, what were you like? What would teachers say about you?
Oh, they'll say, I don't know. I'll be honest, like during PE sessions, I always get picked. It's like, because I'm the sports guy. I'm the guy that's good at sports. I think I was really energetic. I was just like that bubbly guy. I'll say for school, I wasn't so good in school, but like when I got out of school, I was really like driven, like because I'm an electrician, right? I was like, I really want to learn how to do this, and I'm like, I really want to learn about PLC systems. Or PLC systems are basically like, let's say a conveyor belt, and you want to press stop and start, and there's an emergency button basically. So all these how can I say, like schematics and stuff that you have to learn. So yeah, I think like after school I did sports science at Melbourne Uni, and I didn't really like that. It didn't really make me feel like I was driven.
Yeah.
So then luckily I got out of it, and I was like, I'll just become an electrician, and now I'm here.
Yeah, had sports science been like the ultimate goal for you in high school? Or was that something that, I have the ATAR to it?
Yeah,
ATAR to
it was,
pick
it's like I had the ATAR, but I think like, to be honest, like back in the days, it was like if you had a high ATAR, you're like, you're smart. You're like you're gonna go far in life. But I think once you realize, that's not really about an ATAR. It's just like if you get a good job and if you know people, and your networking's like really good. I guess that's what's gonna make you go far. Like hopefully I get this new job, and that was just through networking, not through how smart I was, not through this ATAR or whatever. It's just purely being a good person and saying that like I probably got this job, hopefully I get this job, like just because this guy's hardworking. So like I said, like me playing soccer, being hardworking is gonna move on to my job. So,
yes, we love to see the links.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think recently, I guess I've started to understand like ATAR is literally just a number, and like while you're in year 12, you're like, fuck, this number is literally gonna change my career. Like I'm gonna like go to uni and thrive and excel. Like
Yeah.
I got I guess 95 plus ATAR. That's no, like that's not me flexing. Like I literally got a 95 plus ATAR, and was like, okay, cool, let's do commerce, and like I'm just probably bang average with everyone there. Like I think you really start to realize how insignificant an ATAR is, and I guess it's like you said, more about networking and people who and things like social clubs, uni clubs, like joining those things, or just like being an overall good person really does take you further than a 100%. Number.
Yeah, it does. I guess like just the way I got this job was just purely out of being a good person, and I'll say just being hardworking. That's all.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So when you got your ATAR, were you disappointed? Were you over the moon? Like what was it to you?
I was pretty like, fuck, I should have got better. Like, now this is what's gonna make me feel like I'm a shit person, or like, I feel like the number is what, creeps on people and makes them feel like, oh man, this is what's gonna be. People think I'm gonna be dumb, or people think I'm gonna be smart, like. But nah, I think once you grow older, and you realize like, no, that's not it. That's actually not it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And sports science, how long did it take you to realize, hey, shit, like, it's not really for me, hey?
Oh man, it took like 6 months, and I was like, yeah, no, let's run.
Fair enough. I guess what was your parents like outlook on it? Like, were they always like, you gotta go to uni? Okay, like, you must.
Nah, to be honest, like, they weren't like that. They were more like, I thought they were like that. They were more like, oh, as long as you're happy and you know that like, how can I explain it? Like, you deferred earlier, so then like your
what, hex debt?
Yeah, basically. So like, I didn't get the hex debt, which is good. 50K or whatever. So yeah, how can I explain it? Like, I knew it from the earliest stage, I'll say that, and then so I don't kind of like underdevelop, not underdevelop in a way, but how can I explain it? I actually kind of explained it, to be honest. Like, not fall behind.
Yeah,
That's
fair enough.
Like, not fall behind in my age, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
I guess you're 26 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back in oh, I can't even say. Oh, back in your day.
Back in the medieval days.
You're literally 6 years older than me. Calm down, Jaden.
Wow, I feel old now.
I guess like with your oh my god, I can't say it without anyway, back in when you graduated, back then, was everyone really set on the fact that, oh, I gotta go to uni? Or was it more like, I'm gonna do like what makes me feel happy?
Basically.
That's
second
oh,
option,
okay, awesome. Because I feel like there's this huge stigma with our generation. It's like, you got to go to school, you got to finish with high ATAR, and then go to uni, and then you get a good job. But I don't know whether that's just because I have Asian parents or...
Yeah. Like, to be honest, like, so when I was with my ex-girlfriend and her sister, I thought she was a bit of a dummy. And, like... Sorry if you're watching this, but you're cool.
No slander on the pod.
But like, and I thought like my ex was like super smart, she's switched on or whatever. But then her sister wasn't switched on, and then like next minute she got a like 80 or 90 ATAR, and I'm like, damn, like be smart, like you're so smart. And then yeah, she's in architect, some degree or whatever, I don't know, but yeah. Haven't seen it in a while as well. So yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. And Sparky, you've become a Sparky.
Yeah.
How long have you been qualified?
2 years now.
2 years.
Yeah.
How's that been?
It's been super chilled after I became a qualified A grade.
So what happened before?
No, just like, being an apprentice. When you're going through the 4-year apprenticeship, like I went through this small company. And I got really treated badly. Like, I wasn't learning, like, even just like being an apprentice, you're like, you want to learn more, you want to do more. But even asking your boss or whatever, they just kind of like have a go at you. I'm like, in your head, and you're like, what's wrong with you? I just want to learn, like, you got me like doing PowerPoints all like for 1 year, I just want to like learn how to do lights. I want to learn how to do data. I don't like, but first year, second year was a bit terrible for me. And then so I left that job, and then third year, fourth year, I went into like an industrial small business, and I learned so much. Like, and the boss there was super chill, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just have a break, maybe 3 breaks.
Yeah, I remember in my podcast with Will he talked about how he wanted to get into an industrial firm because they treat their employees a lot better. Is that right?
No, I don't know about that, but like with this company, because I got this apprenticeship from my friend from soccer, and he's like,
connections,
yes. Networking, yeah. So he got me the job, and ever since that, like, it was really good. Like, I learned so much from his dad, and he was really like, yeah, you can do this, you can do that, or like, how can I explain it? Like, he just taught me heaps. Like, yeah. And then ever since I qualified, I did solar for like 3 months, and then I hated that because I did like all the work while everyone was like chilled on top of the roof, sun baking or whatever, like, and I was just like in the roof, like out of breath. I was like, and crawled in like a small space. I'm like, damn. And then got out of that, and then now I'm in this company right now, and yeah, it's been so good.
Yeah, love to see
It's
it.
been so chilled, and I've been like traveling heaps with this company, which has its pros and cons because you don't see your family a lot, you don't see your friends and stuff like that. But yeah, like if I go, I go to Truka. What gym is there in the Truka? Like
Where even is Truka?
Where is the Truka?
I have no clue.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's just hard finding gyms, even when you're just like powerlifting, and then you're like, oh damn, I have to miss a day because this town doesn't have a gym, like.
I guess, yeah, talk to us about your work-life balance and how you sort of manage being a Sparky on the move, and also you're under Matt Crundle.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Yeah, shout out.
You've obviously got a program that you need to follow, and like days that you need to be training and working out. How do you do it?
Okay, so we'll start from morning. So let's say I'll wake up at 6. I'll have like a protein shake, which is I don't know, 1,200 calories. That'll help me throughout like my 3 hours. Go to work, which is like 7 to 3, and so during the 7 to 3, I'll probably have like 2 meals, and then after I have another meal, and then I'll go to gym. Let's say around peak hour 6:30, which is kind of shit. Yeah. And then come back home, have another meal, and then when I go to bed, have a shake again, and then done. That's my work-life balance for you.
Gee
in
whiz.
a small little circle for you.
Yeah, that's mental.
Yeah.
So that's every day.
That's
other than weekends.
Yeah,
obviously.
other than weekends. Weekends is another level, but yeah.
We don't talk about weekends.
Yeah, weekends. Yeah.
Yeah, so you found it quite easy to balance, or do you find yourself sort of not being able to stay motivated? And hit those days.
Like, I try to stay motivated, like, because I watch like anime, I watch all these like training videos, so I'm always staying motivated mentally. So yeah. So
Yeah, love to see
it's
it.
always like that. So yeah. Yeah, like if you get me with anime, we'll talk for hours, but let's not do that. Like for the anime dweebs.
Anime podcast.
Yeah.
And I guess, like, where do you see yourself taking your Sparky career? Like, are you gonna continue working in the firm, or do you have plans for like starting your own business?
So currently, I've got my small little business I do on the weekends. It's called LoomFX, Lighting and Electrical.
Shout out. We'll put it in the show notes so you guys can find it.
Yeah, boy. And then I've been doing that for maybe around 6 months now, but it's been on and off because I've been traveling for my work. So, I'll say the money's there. It's just time, having time to get to it. Yeah, I'll say that. That's about it. Yeah.
And like right now, you don't have much time.
Not much time to
Just
be
flat
honest.
out.
Yeah. So, yeah, night shift today. I was like, oh, I can do this podcast for Jaden. Let me message him. Like,
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Alright, I know you're a busy man.
Yeah.
Talk to me about like your past relationships and everything. We've got it in the sheet here. I'm just having a read.
Yeah. So,
How have they
so,
made you the person that you are?
To be honest, like, after you go through a breakup, it just kind of makes you open up or take a step back, and you're like, damn, like, how come I didn't realize it, or how come like I treated them or they treated me this way, and I was just so blindsided, if that makes sense. I'll say like the last relationship I was in, I was kind of blindsided. I was like, because I'm a giver myself, and I'm really like, yeah, I'll help you with everything, and I'll make sure that, like, you got this in place, this and that. But at the end of the day, when you're in a relationship and they say, oh, I want to leave you or whatever, I'm like, yeah, you kind of have to take a step back, and you're like, it will happen someday, like there will be hard times where you're like, man, like, should I just give up, or should I just, like, should I just stay? Is this worth it or not? But I think part of a relationship is, if you're going through that tough barrier, that's what makes a relationship, and that's what makes you stay together. You know, if you can go through the hard times, you can go through any time. You know, you can go through anything, as long as you kind of stick together. You make sure you talk it out at the start what you guys want before starting anything. Yeah. What made me the person I am is, I'd say, to be honest, like, it kind of made me feel sad that the person, the way she is like that. But at the end of the day, people are people, and that's human nature. And I can't really force anyone to become the way that I want them to be, if that makes sense, you know? But yeah, I think, like, after the breakup, it made me such a strong person mentally. It kind of, like, I'm kind of in a phase where I'm like, I don't really give a fuck, but do I give a fuck? You know what I mean? Like, but yeah, it's just like, yeah, after a breakup, it actually makes you a better person. But you just have to, like, you might feel shit like 2, 3, 4 months, but once you kind of feel like, all right, well, I'm gonna start dressing nice, you know, I'm gonna have that glow season of myself, you know, glow up, you know, and it just makes you feel like, all right, I feel more confident now, you know, I feel I can be myself, yeah. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, right. What have breakups taught you, and what lessons have you learned?
Just to not, I'll say, make sure to talk it out first before starting anything.
So setting your boundaries. We love to say it.
Don't trust a lot. Even though I say, I'll say, like, to be honest, from experience, it's like you might love this person through this honeymoon phase, but it's just like, you know, you think they're gonna be that right person, but then they're like, are they? You know, are they? Like, so.
Well, what's your experience been of that? Like, have you found yourself? Because sometimes I find myself just, I guess, trying to jam a square into a circle. So the circle might be like, a great person, like all these expectations that you have, and you're trying to, like, fit this person in.
Well, like I said, you're trying to jam that square in that circle. Let's say I'm that square and my ex-girlfriend was that circle, and I was trying to, like, mold myself so that I can fit with her. But another way, like, I think opening up through these relationships, makes me sound like I got heaps of relationships. But this relationship, like, before then I wasn't really expressive. Like, I was really closed guy. I didn't really talk about feelings. I just thought, like, is that what men are? Like, we don't talk about our feelings, you know? Like, society kind of, like, portrays us like, oh, men don't have feelings and stuff like that. But I think what you understand when you're older, you're like, man, I've actually got a lot of shit to talk about, you know?
When was that point that you, I guess, discovered that, yeah, I can open up and I feel that I can be vulnerable amongst friends, family, and people that you're close with?
I'll say I can be really vulnerable to my friends. Not really my family, because my family kind of, like, they don't really understand, especially coming from a parent point of view, where different generation. So, and your family wants to think about you, but then all they think about is, but, like, obviously for myself, I really like to think good for that person. Like, another analogy of it is, like, to express and open up to people. So I was like a butterfly. Let's say my wings are so big and I'm open, expressive, but once you kind of, like, clip them off, I'm like, oh, is that how you are? And now I need to fucking grow my wings again so I can trust you more now. So I think that's more of my phase now.
You said you were less expressive way back when. How do you feel, I guess, moving from relationships? Have you taken some steps in your own stride to better yourself and feel more confident in yourself?
Oh, Man, it's pretty hard. I think, to be honest, like I said, be a better person, you know, and then at the end of the day, people are going to recognize you for who you are.
But how, AK? How?
You just have to
how do you
bite
be a
your
better
lip.
person?
You have to bite your lip and you just have to soldier on.
Mate, you've bought a house recently. I remember last time we were at the gym. You bought a house at 26 years old. Bloody hell. I feel like the market at the moment's fucked.
Yep.
Tell us your secrets. What have you been doing? What are you financially? Because I just go out, I spend money on food, drinks, go out, have fun.
Well, I recently started to save up when I was like 23. So live at your parents' house as long as you can. You know, just be a cockroach and eat whatever. Save up. My advice is maybe just do like that 70-30 rule or 60-40 rule. So save 60%, spend 40%.
And is this paycheck by paycheck? Is that
basically,
how you? Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't really go out. I at least probably had like, let's say $300 a week. Oh, $300 a week, and that's for food, petrol, food, petrol, board was like 150. So what I have, $150, you know, of nothing, you know. And food, like I spend a lot of food, especially on Uber Eats, which is so bad. So save as much as you can. If you can get a 20%, 10%, you can actually get a 5% as well. But only 10,000 people can only get that.
What does that mean?
So basically, depending on the bank, only people who are like eligible can only get 10,000. Only 10,000 people can get a 5%, so a 5% deposit of whatever house that you're buying. So depending on the bank, basically. So I set that for a 10%, and I use my parents as a guarantor. So basically, put their house underneath my name, so then they can. So if anything happens, they use the lump sum money of their house, so to use mine. So if anything happens, like I don't know, a water leak, or I can't pay the bank, you know, I can't pay my mortgage, so then they have to take a bit of money from them, so then they give it to me, so then I can kind of like save for the next mortgage.
Yeah. Talk to us. I'm a complete noob about like mortgages and property and everything. I guess for you, where did it all start? Where did the inspiration come from?
To be honest, my ex-girlfriend, like she was really like highly driven and always wanted a house and always talked about money, and I was like, well, yeah, I want to get a house, but maybe when I have amount, like decent amount, but I didn't know what a decent amount of money. I didn't know what the process of how to get like a how do I explain an approval of getting a mortgage, you know. So I went through a broker. So you can get through a broker, you can go through a bank to get an approval. So for her, she really like kind of inspired me to get the house. But yeah, I can't explain it, to be honest. Like she was really good. She was really like highly driven in that way. So, and I kind of like learned off her. So,
yeah. Fair enough.
I'm kind of like a noob, to be honest, like in the housing property. But like once you get a house and you want another house or you want another investment property. So my advice is like, if you have an investment property, you know, just live at your parents' house and lease it out, or let someone rent it out, and that way it pays itself. And then maybe in a couple of years you get the equity from that house, so that money that's been stored, you use it for the next house, and then that way you can buy another property.
And is that's your long-term goal?
That's short-term, to be honest, because I probably want like another 3 or 4 underneath my belt in probably the next 10 years, maybe. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, exciting times. Yeah. So saving money. What are your tips? Stay at home.
Stay at home. Eat your parents' food. Just don't go out too much. And going out too much means like at least try and minimize like once a week or so, 2 times a week. Don't go out to like brunches. Like eggs Benny's like how much now these days? Like
yeah, true. It's literally an arm and a leg to eat at a cafe. Like shit's very expensive.
Yeah, so I didn't really do that stuff with my friends. Even though they went, I was like, yeah, I gotta stay home, gotta do chores,
Yeah. I guess how did you approach that? Because like I if I were listening to you talk way back when, I'd be like, well shit, like I have to go out, like the peer pressure, like people going out, I have to go. I've got FOMO, like I'm missing out on all this stuff. Like what would you do? And I don't want to be that person that brings like a lunchbox to to a fucking lunch,
No, it's alright. Like so I think because being a Sparky and hopefully this new job that comes for me, like everything aligns and I'm probably financially free. But like maybe as a uni student, I'd say have fun first. You have all these years to have fun, like, and you can save up for a house as long like once you get your dream job at Lululemon.
Oh, he knows.
Lululemon, remember? At Lululemon, and you're kind of like you got a full-time job, and you're like, oh man, I need to start saving, and you kind of develop a habit of like, all right, I'll put in this much, and you might have FOMO, but you can still go out, like
And what would you do with your friends? I guess, like you wouldn't go out for lunch, but or like movies and stuff. But
to be honest, it's mainly like.
Oh, phone's coming off.
Do you want to pull? Oh,
yeah, you can go. Go get it. We're having some technical difficulties. It's all right.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Yeah, so what I usually did, I just like go to my friend's house. We'll just play board games or movies or whatever. Just chill at their house, play PlayStation. That's enough to like have fun.
Yeah,
for me.
To see it.
Yeah.
What about if I had? I'm picking your brains here.
Yeah.
What if I had a girlfriend and want to go out all the time, have nice dates and go out for food, go shopping, XYZ. How would you go about that?
I think like you kind of have to talk to your girlfriend and be like, hey, look, we're gonna have a goal for ourselves, or for ourselves in the future. This is what we're gonna do from A to Z, and this is what our goals are. So, let's say your girlfriend's like, oh, I want to go here. All right, we'll go out, but it's gonna be the next day will probably be like, I don't know, in the next 3 weeks or something like that. And then just kind of like, and if she's like really understandable and she knows like, all right, like Jaden kind of like wants a future with me and he wants to like have a house with me. I'm sure he'll understand,
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I guess it's about setting those boundaries and communicating like, hey, this is like what I want to work towards and let's start saving, maybe we'll set up a future for ourselves at one point.
100%.
Yeah.
That's how it is. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nah, it's all good. It's all
Appreciate
good.
it. Yeah, so I guess, I'm trying to still wrap my head around like saving as a uni student because, you're already... God damn it. Okay. We're back. Like as a uni student, like I'm going into uni each and every day. I drive there as well, and petrol's a fucking absolute bitch at the moment.
Oh my god.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
Literally so bad. Thank you for driving again. I appreciate it. But yeah, petrol's bad. I guess then there's the temptation of, my friends are going out and getting like, I don't know, KFC. KFC's near like Melbourne Uni, so KFC's normally the spot,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say like I said, like you're at a young age, you can still do that. I guess maybe if you do want to have that talk with your girlfriend, let's say at the age of, how are you, 20?
20.
Wow, you're a baby.
Don't feel it. I literally don't feel it. Yeah.
Like let's say 23, 24, maybe it just kind of gets a bit not super serious. So like, all right, maybe my next step is I need to save this year. This year's goal, I'm gonna save $15,000, and then if it's achievable, then you can use the other money for like, all your FOMO stuff. But that's about it. I reckon that I could say. But when I was young, I was such a bad saver. So I would spend at least. So as a first year apprentice, 1 hour was like $8 for me. I'm like, that's
you
peanuts.
got $8
for
an
1 hour. Yeah.
as an apprentice.
So like, how am I supposed to like
live off that? How do you
Yeah.
live off that? Far out.
So like let's say every week I'll probably get like 400 something bucks a week. Man, I spend $400 a week on Uber. Like,
Yeah.
like, not $400 to me, but like, it's just, it was actually super hard for me to save up. And especially like, didn't go out with anyone, just stayed home, PlayStation, friends that, that's all. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like those like you have to be antisocial and make those sacrifices to
Yeah.
I guess set up your long-term goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, is what I'm hearing.
Mm.
How's your training going?
Yeah, good. It's been like really consistent. I wasn't really consistent probably 2 months ago because of work and traveling and stuff like that. Like I said, like traveling to a town where there's no powerlifting gym, and so the only gyms there is like I think Snap Fitness or something like. Well, not Snap Fitness. What's that purple gym? What's that?
Anytime.
You need to be a member.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to be a member.
I know.
I already go to a gym. So, training's been really good. So I've been kind of like progressing in my deadlifts, my squats, my bench, man. I was trying to get 100 like the other week. It could not get up. Like,
I did see that.
yeah,
and
I was like, I'm trying to learn how to do the arch. Like, man, like,
you're
my back
you're like
is
6 foot something, aren't you?
yeah. I can't even do that. Like,
The
my
amount of
arms are
bend.
like 4 foot something or something.
Yeah, literally. Man is so long.
Oh man, freaking lanky ass.
I mean, you're getting bigger. I can tell.
Thank you.
It's nice. And food and everything's good. Like how I guess you were skinny growing up.
Yeah.
And have a high metabolism. How have you been getting around it? Because I remember, I guess you said shake in the morning, meal 1, meal 2, meal 3, then another shake. Is that
basically, yeah. So let's start off like soccer. I would eat as much as I can, and I would rest for like 3 hours, and then go to training or go to a match or whatever. But I would only have like 2 big meals during soccer. But then, when powerlifting, it doesn't have to be too much food. It's as long as you make your foods consistent and you meet the macros, macronutrients or how much protein, carbs you have. But for me, it's like if I get an amount of calories and the amount of calories I have, I'm gonna burn it off, or I'm gonna have so much energy that I can pull off that 200 kilo squat, like which I can't. Matt's been really like consistent with me, and he's been really like, I'll say like he's a really firm believer in his like the people who he trains, because like I did not think I would like lift this much now.
Yeah.
And then like in 4 months, I'm like, oh wow, in 4 months like of this or 4 or 5 months of this program, and I'm like, wow, I've actually like exceeded my expectations, and from just like eating and lifting, that's all it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. I think having a coach is one of the best investments that you can.
It is.
Probably get into. So
yeah, like
shout out Matt.
Yeah, like I said, like I could not even like deadlift like 170. I could not deadlift like 180, so I was stuck on like 170 for like 2 years because I would PR every week. Like I'll like, man, I want this 180. Why can't I get this? Like, yeah. So then like every week your back is like so cooked, and and then you develop calluses, and that's just like extra armor for your hands and stuff like that. So, Matt's been really good. And man, it's so humble, that guy. I swear.
Yeah, homie's crazy. This is a Matt Appreciation Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
What's next for you?
What's next? I'll say just in terms of anything, or just with
your life, man.
I'd say, man, furniture, getting this new house is gonna be so damn expensive. Furniture. That's why I'm just saving up for furniture.
So are you gonna furnish out this place and then you're gonna rent it out? Is that the plan?
I'm gonna like hopefully I'll stay in this house and I'll probably get like 1 or 2 roommates, and that way it's easy on me to pay the mortgage and bills.
Yeah.
So I think that's another smart idea of doing it. And if I can, maybe let's say I live in it for 5 years and I lease the other room to another guy, and that way mortgage is paid off quickly or whatever. And I'll take the furniture that I have, move it to the next one. So I think the next step in my journey is trying to get this new job, and I feel like everything will be so good, to be honest.
Yeah. Talk about it. Like
I'm hoping to. Oh, should I kind of like say it?
I don't know actually. Maybe. I mean, by the time it's released.
Yeah, maybe.
You might have. So we'll see how we go.
All right. So hopefully I get this new job. And because I like cars, I love cars. I love JDM cars. I love European cars, and this specific car, like I'll just like get. I'm like, yeah, it'd be sick, you know.
Oh, you're saving up for a car.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Love to see it.
And maybe, I don't know what my next step is, to be honest. Like, I'm still in that process of thinking what life is.
I mean, I feel like the whole point of this podcast for me is like to just gain perspective from people and like what they're doing. Like, I've had people who are like, I don't know, all different ages and demographics and into different things who, they don't necessarily know or are able to like point a finger at exactly what life is. So
yeah, like weird thing is like, man, my friend got me into smoking meat. Man, who's like in my head I'm like, who smokes meat? But then he actually got me into all this like, oh, you have to I smoke it like 12 hours and then I put thermometers and stuff like that, and I'm like, man, is this what part of growing up, or like, you know, like you guys like this, like, and then he got me into it and I'm like, I kind of like it as well. So he got me into that. He got me into like camping, and I'm like, it was I don't know, that man exposed me in everything. Exposed me in all topics of meat and camping, and I'm like, I actually like this stuff. So and he was from work as well. Yeah.
Nice. Do you have anything else to, I guess, leave the listeners with?
Maybe just I'll say, in part of growing up, just make sure you treat people right. You make sure that you know your worth, and be a better person for not just for others, just for yourself, and just work towards the goals. You know, like I said, like you want to save up for a house. All right, I gotta save. Let's say 15, 20K. All right, I already saved that up. Move on to the next year. Maybe I can save 25 grand. Move on to the next year, type of thing. But yeah, just in terms of like relationship wise, just make sure you put yourself first, and then your partner maybe just like another, let's say like a attachment, if that's the word for it, like so they're basically like a good part of yourself, if that makes sense. Yeah,
but they don't define who you are,
basically. Yeah. Be a better good person.
Thank you so much, AK, for hopping on the podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me as well. So yeah, I appreciate it so much. First podcast. No, good experience.
Hopefully it was a good listen. Be sure to follow at Life with Lam podcast on Instagram, and you can find all of AK's links in the show notes below. But until next time, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.